Just a quick message before I start the video. The first chunk of this video is about me installing the cruise control. There's a second tidbit at the end about how you could do it for cheaper. So just stay tuned for that. What's up guys, this is my first ever video. Today we're going to be installing the 2013 Prius C cruise control. And without further ado, let's get into it. First thing we're going to need is this Prius C cruise control kit. It does say 2012 on there, but apparently 2012 and 2013 have identical steering columns, so hopefully that's fine. This is everything that comes inside it. You got your manual, some wires, the cruise control thing itself, and then also these screws. All this was $200 plus tax, which is pretty expensive, but I will link the place where I got it down in the comments. The first step is to remove these panel clips right here and right here behind your passenger seat, so that way you can access the battery underneath. Just a quick note in case you were wondering where the battery is in the back rear panel. That's the front of the car. Just come back here, and then it's right here. That's just where the panel's removed from, and then the terminal's right in there. That's where the terminal is. Once you've removed your panel, you're gonna want to pull this up, and you see that right there? That's the negative terminal of the battery. You're gonna want to remove that. They say you should use a 10mm wrench, which I've got right here. All right, let's do that. Once you removed the negative terminal from the battery, you're gonna wait 90 seconds. It's pretty important that you do that. They say the airbag could blow if you don't. So I would do that. Then you're gonna come up here to your wheel. You're gonna go up here, and you see that right here? You're just gonna kind of wanna press on it until it comes out. I'll be back in a second when I've done that. I got it removed, but I ended up actually using a flathead screwdriver and just pressing down on this little area right here. That removes the first clip. The second one comes right out. This is where the fun begins, because you're supposed to take one of these Torx screwdrivers. There's like six star things. And you're supposed to unclip the pins to the steering wheel, to the airbag, and this is where you could actually die if this thing goes off, so be careful. Something I just found out is there's actually two of these, so you're going to want to remove this one too, and then you'll do the same thing. Came off nice and easy. Go over and we'll get our Torx. And then, you see that metal piece right there? Push it in, sorry. This is harder when you're behind the camera. Alright, heard that click. And now, be careful because I don't want to die. Here comes the airbag. Next thing you're going to want to do is remove the ground terminal from the airbag. I removed it by using just this small flathead and pressing ever so slightly on that little sticking out thing right there. And for this, you're going to want to press, back up a little. And press. Wiggle a little. Oh, Yeah, you gotta get these bad boys off. That's probably not that good. I'm sure it's fine. Whew. It is muggy out here. Alright. Now this says pretty important that you store it facing up, not away. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in the back of the car facing up, and hopefully it doesn't explode. Next thing you're gonna want to do is remove this side pin right here. Kind of just grab and pull. There's gonna be a bunch of dead bugs in my car after this. I made a mistake, because the next point is you're supposed to remove Phillips. I was like, oh, these Phillips? No, it's actually, it's really hard to see, but there's a Phillips right there that you're supposed to remove, and that is impossible if you don't have your steering wheel all the way up. So word to the wise, quick disclaimer, keep your steering wheel up in the upright position when you're doing this. I'll be back when I get that fixed. Another little fun fact for you, you actually can't turn it so that both screws are available at the same time. So I think what you have to do is you have to turn the car on, yank your wheel over so that you get one screw, unscrew it, yank your wheel the other way, unscrew the other side, and then turn your car off. I did actually have to put the battery line back there. So I'm not really sure how you're supposed to do this, because you have to remove it before you take the airbag out, but then you have to put it back in unless your wheel doesn't lock. So I don't know, good luck with that, guys. All right, guys, the screws are officially removed. You see two of them there. There is one more underneath, which right there. Right there. Wow, this is really hard to see. It's like I'm going to heaven. Right there. And I did remove the battery, the negative terminal of the battery again. So I will be waiting 90 seconds just for that. But we'll see you once I've removed the steering wheel. A word to the wise, you're not actually removing the steering wheel, but the steering wheel column. I do wonder what that does, but that's not gonna come into play in this video. Next thing they tell you to do is cut a 1.5 inch hole right here along the grain, right in that area. I don't have a drill that can cut a hole that big, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be drilling. I'm going to draw a circle on here, and I'm going to drill a couple holes that are small, and then use a saw to cut a rough edge estimate, and then maybe try to deburr it so that it's smooth. All right, I'll see you when I'm doing that. All right, let's mark 1.5. Wow, that's really hard to see. All right. There's the center. Now is the fun part. I'm gonna try to not put a hole in the table. Not the cleanest cuts in the world, but it'll do. I actually think what I might do is kind of like those carnival games where you gotta shoot out holes till the, using those like BB guns, till the star falls out. It just has to be good enough. This is what the piece looks like. I'm gonna have to clean up the edges real quick, but I'll get back to y'all after that. Here's the final product. It's clearly got some edges to it still, but I don't really care that much. And the sander that I used is really, really loud, so I'm not gonna do anything more with it. Quick thing before I forget is that on the back side, there is an L or an R. And depending on which side you want your cruise control on, you can choose, I believe, which side to cut the hole out of. I did the right side because that's what they demonstrate in here, but I'm assuming there's enough wire for you to do whichever side you like. So just keep that in mind. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is take your cruise control switch, take that bag off, tuck it inside here. Oh, that was, and then with this kit comes 2 Phillips head screws that you're just gonna put. You're gonna put one right here. Sorry. Put one right there and one right there. It took a while to get that to actually screw in. Now for the other one, the second one. All right. The cruise control is set in place now. I also put that back on. It looks really awkward. I don't actually know if you need a hole that big. You could probably get away with like an inch, maybe less. You're supposed to take out this guy and then plug in the cruise control switch right here next to it. Next, you're supposed to take a look at this bad boy. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is on the right side of the steering wheel, just remove this connector by just pulling on the pins. Pull it out, and then you're gonna be connecting a couple wires. Next, you're gonna be taking this wire, the 59B 05877, and you're gonna take one of these ends, and you're just gonna plug that bad boy in right at pin 1. But I need 2 hands to do this, so I'll see you in a second. It's nice and confusing because there's 2 different black wires, and there's no distinction whether or not which one's ground. You can usually tell because of that ring, usually that connects to ground, but it's not super intuitive, so you kind of have to read further into the instructions to understand which one is the one that you're supposed to be also plugging in to this G5 connector, and that's this one. You're just gonna plug it in right next to that brown. And another thing is that if you don't pull this up, it's impossible to get the brown actually inside. So make sure to take a small flathead and pull this little groove up while installing. You're then gonna want to run the black wire down the harness all the way to this bolt right here. It's 10 millimeters, so you're gonna need that 10 millimeter wrench again, and you're gonna want to connect the end of it underneath and then screw it back in. I'll be back once I've done that. Once you're done connecting the ground to the chassis, you're gonna want to come over here and find the top. You call it the G58 connector, and you're gonna want to pull that bad boy out. After that, you're gonna want to route this wire behind through the top right there, through the top right there. out that bad boy. So that red spot on my hand is not blood, it's just marker, but I digress. Pull that through, and then on here, you're gonna wanna find the 22nd pin, and you're saying 22nd, how in the heck am I supposed to know what the 22nd pin is? And it's, come in close here, the 22nd pin is this one. It's like this weird little Minecraft creeper thing. You come 1, 2, and that's the 22nd pin. Plug it in right there. Again, just like the terminal on the other side, you've got to pry up this little thing right here, that white thing. And this one is extra difficult because you've got to push in these little pins in the side so that it allows it to come up enough for you to actually be able to get the wire in. But that's the 22nd pin. Once that's in there, you should be done. I'm gonna go test it real quick. Well, you have to reinstall the airbag and reattach the battery back here. So I'm gonna wire tie these things real quick, go check that it works, and then I'll get back to y'all. It's now time for the moment of truth. Let me get out of the way of the airbag. It explodes. And it works. We have cruise control now. Let's go. You can see when I press the on button right here. Sorry, let me just get refocused. You can see that little green thing show up. Now the only way to really know if this thing works is to take a test drive. So I'm gonna go out on my street and see if the car survives. See you in a second. It didn't work, guys, so I'm gonna check it out using my multimeter, check for continuity.